Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 315. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
I'm doing good. But I think you're doing real good. Is that?
I'm doing.
You nice? You nice right now?
I'm doing beyond good, and no, I don't have the Spider-Man cup. There is no drink. It's only water for this episode, but. If you listen to our last Saturday Morning Retro episode 20, I hit a milestone in my collection. I finally hit 5,000 games. Ooh. I've talked about it for years. That was the number. That was the magic number I really wanted to hit, and I hit it. So I'm super excited. I'm now over 5,000. By the way.
Wow, that's the number you want to hit, and then you keep going. Doesn't end.
We'll see what happens. I have to do some adulting, as they say.
5,000 is a milestone. Don't get me wrong, but the hustle don't stop, Dan.
Well, I'm not trying to get the Guinness Book of World Records or anything.
Well, you're not gonna beat. Well, actually, the last
somebody already beat him.
Not that he's not number one, but he doesn't want to go through the trouble because you have to pay Guinness to do all the auditing. And it's a whole big process. So he may have more games, but he doesn't want to do the work for it.
Not only that, you got to have people come in and they got to do an official count.
That's the audit. Yeah. And it costs I mean, for that large of a collection, I think it scales the amount of auditors you need to kind of verify, because that's like a 30-person job, maybe. He's got a ton of shit. So
yeah. I wouldn't want to go through that either, even though it would be fun to have the record for a while. But no, that is not what I'm going for at all. Yeah. I'm not trying to do that, but I remember just having that small shelf. If you look back on our Instagram page, from way back, I mean, I think we have like 2,000 pictures up at this point. But if you look at way back, you see that one. It was like a shoe shelf, a sneaker shelf.
Yeah, I remember that little like gray shelf. Yep, and you had all your games. It was a black shelf.
It was black.
You had all your games stacked up on it, everything.
And I thought, oh man, I packed this shelf. I got a lot of games. No, if you look behind me, I got a lot of games. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Listen, it all starts somewhere, man.
That's surrounding me. I know.
It all starts somewhere.
No, listen. We have an awesome show this week, right? We got special guest on later in the show, Retro Wolf 88.
That's right. Right. Returning guest to the show, Retro Wolf 88. Excited to talk to him because he's got he's got some milestones that I
want to talk to him about his GameCube collection.
Oh,
yeah, I want to talk to him about that.
I know
that he definitely hit a milestone, did something I didn't think anybody would do, and now he's going to try to hit that milestone once again. So we'll talk to him later in the show. We're going to talk more about the Embracer Group deal with Square-Enix. right? Like it's some other things that we didn't touch on last week because as we were doing the show last week, that was like breaking news.
Yep.
And we're also going to talk about some issues with the new AEW. Talk about see what's up with that. But before we get into any of that, let's begin the show with Jeff Keighley in Summer Games Fest 2022. He announced that it's going to be June 9th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. I think that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And he'll have a live screening in IMAX theater, full scale immersion.
Interesting.
He also announced that the Game Awards this year will be in December as well.
Interesting. He is doing things that the Oscars, the Emmys, the Tonys, that no other award show could do. The Grammys, yeah, can't forget the music awards. Yeah, all of those award shows, they're only simulcast on TV one time, and they're never broadcast again. They're put in the motion picture vault or whatever it is. They archive it. Then that's it. And people can clip it and put it on YouTube and all that. But that's the only time you get to see it. It's one and done. And Keighley is trying to kind of buck that trend and put it in IMAX theaters. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to go pay for a ticket.
I'm not going to lie. I'm intrigued. I probably won't go.
What's
pay
the
for
intrigue
this in the end?
It's just a broadcast of. It's just going to be a bunch of game trailers and a couple of video game celebrities.
Okay. Maybe the Game Award, I would do this for.
Okay.
Not so much Summer Games Fest, because I'll be honest, I don't know what to expect. Right? This is what, the second or third one.
Yeah.
Don't know really what to expect. I wasn't so high on the last one, right, and how it was handled, right, spread out throughout the summer. I don't like. I kind of like this is the chunk of days that we're gonna have it, and you're gonna get some big announcements, right, E3 style. So I wasn't a big fan of it before. I mean, it was better than nothing, especially this year. It's better than nothing. It literally is taking the place for E3, right? June 9th. Yep. It's usually around where E3 time is.
Yep. Like first or second weekend, yeah.
If I was an actor, right? Like if I was on Broadway or something, or a struggling actor on Broadway or off Broadway, I would want to probably see the Oscars in IMAX. If I was a musician or a struggling musician in New York, I would probably want to go see the Grammys in IMAX, right? It's what you inspire to be. You want to just focus on that.
You would want to be invited to the Grammys, I think. That's the thing.
I mean, that would be your old. Well, no, you want to sell
even just as like records. A guest, even if you're in the back and be a guest.
No, your ultimate goal is to sell 10 million records.
Oh, well, I'd be on the stage when you. Well, no. I know, but I'm talking about realistically, right? You could probably get in one of the back rows and be like a seat filler or whatever, right?
Well,
like,
if you're lucky enough, because there are millions of people that want that gig too. But I would want to be focused on whatever like this is what I want to do. This is what I'm into. I would be intrigued to do it for the Game Awards, right? I would rather be at the Game Awards. But the next best thing, I think, would be get some popcorn and watch it like a movie in IMAX. I would be into that, personally.
Yeah.
It'll be me and 5 other people.
I mean, I don't know. You got a big screen TV and a surround sound. I don't necessarily know what the benefit is of it, right? If it was a blockbuster movie, if it was like a Marvel movie, okay, yeah, go to the theater, see that movie. But... I don't know.
If the movie comes out day and date where you can stream it or you go to the movies, watch it at home too. So it
depends on it depends on the movie, right? If it's like a tight foreign drama with a lot of dialogue, I'm not going to be as gung ho to see it in the theater. But if it's Thor, right? Love and Thunder, right? He's coming down and swinging the hammer around and causing chaos. Like, there's a reason to see that in the theater, right? I would pay money to see that.
I'll be honest. I if it's day and date, comes to streaming or comes on the movie theater, I would say 9 out of 10 times I'll probably just watch it at home.
Well, that's the same thing with the Game Awards. It's going to be simulcast in IMAX on the same day. You can just watch it from the comfort of your own home.
I know, but you said if it was like a movie, it's like, you know,
if it was something spectacular, if it was a big movie, because it costs like $20.
I know.
It's a lot
there
of
are a bunch of movies. There are a bunch of movies that come out every year.
Mm-hmm.
The Game Awards is just once, right? So that's my argument. Where it's just one time thing. I'll experience it. Maybe I won't do it again, but I'm intrigued with it. Not the Summer Games Fest though. Let me just clear. Not for Summer Games Fest, for the Game Awards. I would probably think about it.
I guess what I want to see. I want to see the numbers from the tickets sold. I want to see how many people go, because I'm actually very curious if people are going to do this. Because at the end of the day, Kiwi's got to rent the theater and pay for whatever the screening is, right? And whatever seats get sold is what the profit is, and that's what he makes off of it. So,
well, if he does it again, right, then it was profitable. That means people went. So it makes sense if people go.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're right. Yeah.
Also, funny news. This is funny, and I actually seen this in my Walmart a couple of weeks ago. Meant to bring it up on the show, totally forgot about it, but I definitely talk about it here. There are some Walmart stores that still advertise the Xbox section as Xbox 360. Like the banner, they'll have a banner up and it'll say Nintendo, right? In this Nintendo section, they'll have the banner that says PlayStation section, and they'll have the banner that says Xbox 360.
Yeah.
For the digital cards.
Yeah. I'm looking at the picture they have of that here, and it's funny because it's not even in the right color. It's teal. It's not like they're like Microsoft green or whatever it is. It's not the iconic Xbox green.
I'm sure that green has faded over 20 something years of being up.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe under like the UV lights. Yeah. It's like Walmart is the biggest brick and mortar retailer across the United States. They're huge. Who is not on top of this? I mean, Dave, at least it's got the right font. So it was official merchandising at some point.
We worked retail back in the day. That's how we went. Okay, at Circuit City. You know they have a planogram person that comes in.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So the planogram person.
This is wild.
Planogram person skipped the Xbox section, obviously.
Oh.
Not only it doesn't even say Xbox One, right? It's Xbox 360.
Well,
like 2 generations back.
See, you know what they could do? They could do like the basic thing and put some tape over the 360 and just have it say Xbox, right?
No. This is what you do. No. This is perfect. I'm glad you said that. You put some tape and put an X over the 360. So it represents.
There you go. That's right. You got to get the branding down.
It represents the Series X.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Works. That's so funny.
All right, Dave. That time of the show, as we always try to start the show, but epically fail. What have you been playing?
I talked about it on the Saturday Morning Retro Show that is out now. If you're listening, go check it out. I got all my limited run games in. I cracked them open, most of them, and I'm currently playing both Double Dragon Neon and Castlevania Bloodlines in the Castlevania collection. And those games are amazing. It's my first time playing Castlevania Bloodlines. I did play the demo of Neon, so I have played that before. It's pretty tight. Bloodlines is amazing. It's awesome. I love that game. It's very good. Very, very tight controls. Never had a Genesis back in the day, so never was able to play it. And my friends had Genesis, but didn't have that game, so... And happy to have it in the collection. Happy to be playing it. It is a tough game, but I love it. You get to play as an American, which is kind of interesting for the series. You get to play as John Morris and Eric Lacard. So you're not playing as a Belmont. You're not playing as the family lineage. Playing as a dude from the late 1800s who came over to the Transylvania area to beat Dracula for some reason. And,
wait, don't you have the original in your collection?
Yeah, but I never had the Genesis set up properly. So
Okay. Because
yeah, but
famously, you bought me a complete in-box copy of this game.
that's right, and you had that already.
Yeah.
So I think I ended up getting you Super Castlevania 4 instead as your Christmas gift that year.
No. You got me Bloodlines.
Well, I got you Bloodlines first.
Yeah.
Wait, no. I got you.
That's what you gave me.
I got you Super Castlevania 4, and you had that already, and then I got you Bloodlines because you had the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'll take it because it was a really good copy. And then I got you Bloodlines as the yeah. So we both have a copy. Was it it was the paper one, right? Or cardboard.
Yep.
Okay.
It was the cardboard.
Okay. Awesome. And also got to mention, still playing Elden Ring. And it is
Still playing that game?
amazing.
Come on. It is, whatever.
It's an open world game. It's beautiful, man. There's
you know what?
The reason I'm still playing it.
There are a lot of other beautiful games too.
The reason I'm still playing it is because there's a lot to do. I'm not stuck. That's the important thing. There's a lot of stuff to do in that game. So
okay, yeah.
You still got to play it, man. You said you were going to play it. You have to try it.
It's cute. It's queued up.
All right. I don't know what you're waiting for, but put some time in. Put a half an hour,
I've been playing playing good games. I haven't had time to play a terrible game yet.
How do you know it's bad? You haven't played it yet.
I played its predecessor.
No, that's not the same game, Dan. That's not the same game.
It's similar enough. I'm good. Yes, I am shitting on Elden Ring. I'm sorry.
Listen. Bubsy 3D is not the same as Bubsy 1, all right? They are cut from a different cloth, Dan.
All right.
One of those games is completely terrible, and one of those games is kind of terrible.
All right. Bubsy 3D is just the evolution of Bubsy 1, okay?
No, it's an abomination.
And they all suck.
Bubsy 1 is playable. Bubsy 3D is unplayable.
No, I think it's the other way around. Bubsy 1 is unplayable.
No, it's a perfectly adequate side scroller. It's just lacks any charm.
When we started the show, I did not think I would ever be talking about Bubsy.
Well,
Bubsy
Dan,
3D.
you got to be ready for the hot
and the
talk.
remaster. And they have Bubsy 3D remastered. Like I have.
I think it's a new Bubsy game, but it plays like the original. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And it's also perfectly adequate.
Anyway, all the Bubsy games are perfectly adequate, except for the first one. First one sucked. Sorry, it sucked worse than the second and the third. And whatever remasters.
All right. Will you make? Because I believe I own Bubsy 3D as well. Will you make me a promise to sit down and play both the original and 3D and come back to me and actually tell me? Because I will do the same.
I will play every single Bubsy game that ever came out.
No. I'm just asking for 1 and 3. Let's have an honest discussion about it.
All right. I will play 1 and 3.
Because I'll say that I don't think I've actually played it, but nobody says it's a good game. They say it's utterly terrible. But I will sit down and play both. Maybe not next episode, maybe not the episode after, but soon. We should at least come to the table, and I want you to honestly tell me which one's better, and I will do the same.
No, we're gonna play. Okay, we'll play Bubsy. I never thought I would be agreeing to play Bubsy.
I see. There you go.
I will be. I will play all. I'll play all 3. Screw it. I'll just play all 3.
Well, all right. I mean, I think 1 and 2 are pretty close, but all right.
So
what have you been playing, Dad?
What have I actually been playing?
Yes.
Instead of Elden Ring, trash. Just saying. Ihander, right, for the PS1. I got the original. I have. Yes. Well, it's the only way to play it. There's nowhere else. They put out a remaster, a digital copy. I don't think they have a digital copy out there. So I have the original.
Possibly the only Square-Enix
way to play
shoot 'em up. Yeah, possibly the only Square-Enix shoot 'em up ever, which is interesting.
Talk about it for Saturday Morning Retro one day, so I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I kind of really like it. I thought this was different. Kind of, I was digging it. Another game I'm actually digging, I did not think I would, but they do have an easy mode, so you can get through the story. But it does get, even though it's easy, as you progress, it does get harder, right? And that is Sifu. If you look.
It's the one where you get
video. I have it right there.
That's where you go you get older and older each time you die, right?
Each time you die, you get older and older. You really need to learn how to like block. You have to learn how to block and do like a combo breaker. Right? You definitely in this game have to do that and
That's
pick up a weapon.
Just like Elden Ring, Dan. Just like Elden
Ring. Pick up a weapon if you can. You have to pick up a weapon.
So, can you get old enough to where it's like game over, game over?
Yes, you do. I haven't experienced that yet, but yes, you get to the point where like you get too old and you die.
So you have to restart the whole game.
You would have to restart the whole game because your save, when you save, it
auto
saves.
Yep.
It auto saves your age. So, if you say you got through a difficult level, but you got really too old.
Yep,
you may want to restart that level. You may want to redo that level over again.
Okay.
Instead of saving, because you don't. Yeah, learn the pattern and try to get through it as young as you can. Right. So, nice. And just again, look at it.
You're about it, right? You're about it. It's good.
So far, yeah.
Okay.
So far, yeah. The controls are good. The DualSense, I almost called it the DualShock 5. The DualSense is awesome, right? I can feel the raindrops. I can feel them walking. Right, you could feel all of that in the controller, so nice. Which is awesome. So I'm really digging the game. I've only put an hour and then a half into it, so I want to put some more time into it, because I think it's a good looking game for what it is. I'm saying it's as pretty as Elden Ring, but it's playable. All right. On that note, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we get into the top gaming news of last. And we're back. All right, let's get into the top gaming news of last week. I want to cover this a little bit more. All right, I want to talk about the Embracer Group deal with Square-Enix, where they bought 3 studios.
Got some new news
from $300 million. Well, it's not that it's new, but it's a different take on it. Right?
Okay.
And this comes from Damon Hatfield at IGN. He's been with IGN for a long time, actually. But he brought up an interesting point that I thought I wanted to talk to you about it, because I didn't think about it in this way. Where you remember in the early to mid 2000s, where Japanese centric games weren't selling as well, right? And Japanese companies, their thought process was they needed to buy Western style IPs and make more Western style games or appeal to the West more. Right.
They did make a concerted effort. I remember, Capcom and Square and even Sega to some degree. All of those studios were kind of trying to really appeal to the American audience, for sure, because there's different sensibilities, right? Japanese players famously don't like first-person shooters for whatever reason, but Americans love first-person shooters, so that's kind of a thing. Americans love violence and guns. And
Metroid, historically not a high-selling game, at least in Japan.
Yeah, right. Which is weird because, but I mean, it is based off American Hollywood property, so maybe that has something to do with it too.
So basically, now that everything comes full circle, it always happened. The '80s, everyone had the '80s style, and now it's like the '90s. It's like it's retro, it's in.
Yep.
Right. More Japanese style games are becoming more and more popular. Right. Right now, and this could be them purging what they sort of what they did back in the mid 2000s to cater to that audience. And now that, I mean, we talked about it last week, like Tomb Raider, the trilogy sold really well, but not to Square Enix, not to what they expected, which they expected to sell super high amount, probably something along the lines of like what Halo usually would sell, or Uncharted, right? And they didn't do as good as that. So they
38 million, I think, for the latest trilogy. I think we looked it up last episode. Yeah. Any other company would see that as a success, but they looked at it as a failure, right? And they've had a lot of different failures, with the Disney games. Avengers didn't sell as well. Critically acclaimed didn't sell as well. No. Avengers definitely not. I was thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy didn't sell as well. Critically acclaimed. Avengers sort of didn't sell as well and kind of got panned by the critics as well. Yeah.
So I think they're shifting strategy and probably don't want to do those style of games going forward. All right, so that could be a reason, and that's something that we didn't discuss, or we didn't even broach that subject, because I mean, 300 million for Tomb Raider alone. Not even talk about Deus Ex, Thief, and any other smaller IPs that they may own. For I would think 300 million alone for Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a drop in a bucket for Sony or Microsoft. You would think Microsoft would have bought the IP for the studios for 300 million. Like, that's crazy how low of an amount that they sold it for, right? That's a discount for Embracer Group with another trilogy being developed right now on Unreal Engine 5.
It's funny how Square Enix came into buying Eidos, because they bought them, I think, in the mid-2000s. And that was after Eidos messed up the franchise, because after Part 3, 4 and 5 on the PlayStation 1, not great. Angel of Darkness on PS2, unfinished, And that was possibly the last Tomb Raider game. And then when Square Enix bought them, maybe in the mid-late 2000s, they're like, all right, we're gonna reboot the franchise with Tomb Raider, right? Or Tomb Raider Anniversary, or whatever it is, right? We're gonna like kind of revitalize the franchise. And they did. They made successful games from there on out. They made a successful mobile Tomb Raider game. They had a like the last like trilogy did really, really well. And I was surprised, because the franchise did well enough for Square Enix to say, we're going to greenlight another trilogy, right? They were starting on another set of games. So why would you greenlight that and then go and sell the company like that? That still feels a little bit weird to me.
Well, that could have been part of the negotiations. Remember, no acquisition happens overnight, right? Like Microsoft was in talks to buy Activision, was in talks to buy Bethesda well before it got announced. Right. We didn't talk about it last show, but apparently Microsoft has been wanting to buy Activision Blizzard for the last 20 years. So,
right.
And they were actually there was an old story that got pulled where Microsoft tried to buy Activision separately and tried to buy Blizzard separate before they came together,
right?
Become Activision Blizzard. So they've been trying to buy them, before we met and we started at Circuit City. So this is no acquisition is overnight, right? So Embracer Group buying 3 studios has been in the works for at least 6 months, right?
Sure, yeah. Well, and it's not surprising that Embracer Group wanted these. Like, they're doing the Microsoft thing, but in a third party way, right? They bought THQ and they bought Deep Silver, and they have you were telling me before the show that they have a stake in Gearbox, which is like crazy. They got their hand in everything. Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the what their ownership rights are, but they according to their website, they have control over Gearbox, so that means Borderlands.
So they have a controlling stake, yeah. So they own at least 51% of the stock shares, I think, if that's what that means. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the sort of the agreement is, but they definitely have control over Gearbox. So they have Borderlands would be their big franchise. Right behind Deep Silver's Saints Row, which is a new Saints Row game coming out this summer. And then Destroy All Humans, right? Biggest game out of THQ Nordic, right? I mean, they have a lot of different franchises.
It's a series, yeah. They recently had a new game.
They own the rights to do SpongeBob games.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. SpongeBob's a big property. It's a property that people love, so for sure.
So I just think, I didn't know they didn't come out of nowhere. They started by Dark Horse Comics. So they own Dark Horse Comics. Apparently they bought up a lot of like the tabletop game, right? They own the board game. So they just monopoly. You want to talk about Microsoft monopolizing? They Embracer Group to a smaller level in different industries and monopolizing. So I just think that's an interesting deal, and they're going to be, a force to be reckoned with. They can have their own E3 showcase with just the IPs that they own, and I'm sure
That's
they have a
right.
lot of mobile games that
That's
keep
right.
them. They keep
That's
the cash flow coming in. Right?
Well, they had a thing last year, right? They had an Embracer Group or like a THQ Nordic
They did.
showcase. Yeah.
Sort of like a direct. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're definitely going to do another one this year, and
Well,
maybe we get to see the new Tomb Raider trilogy because.
I know. So, all right. No, we talked about Embracer Group. Now let's shift focus and talk about Square. Why would they, not just them catering to the Western audience and those games not doing so well, why would they sell off these studios, these franchises, especially for such a low amount? And this could be why. This comes from Push Square. They're pretty much saying multiple sources are saying that Square is getting ready to be bought by Sony. Now, this, Jeff Grubb, Greg Miller of Kind of Funny, all alluded to Sony making another big move soon, right? And this could be that move, according to multiple sources coming out of Push Square. I would say this makes sense, even more sense now. This makes even more sense to me now, and I'll tell you why. Right? We talked again. We discussed last week or the week before on the U.S. government sort of stepping in, scrutinizing the big acquisition between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
And Sony and Bungie.
Anytime big company buys a big company, they're gonna go over all the financials and everything, make sure it's above board.
Yeah, but if they sell off sort of their Western studios, right? Because those are studios in Canada, and it's just buying Square, Japanese company, a Sony Japanese company buying Square-Enix, another Japanese company. That doesn't have to do you don't have to go through any of the red tape that you have to in the West, right? That could be a clean purchase for them, where they sold this off to be more attractive to be bought by another Japanese company like Sony. This kind of makes sense. It makes more sense to me now that this could happen. We could have Final Fantasy exclusive to PlayStation
and Dragon Quest. Then those are the two biggest JRPG franchises, hands down. Some of the biggest RPG franchises of all time. And I can get behind this. I can get behind this scenario and the reasoning behind it. That kind of makes sense. Trim the fat. Here's specifically, mostly, they still have a couple of American or non-Japanese properties, but it's mostly Japanese properties now, mostly in-house, either Square or like Enix games specifically. And, you're right. You wouldn't have to deal with all these, foreign interests and whatever. You wouldn't have to deal with the Canadian government and, whatever else. And, it kind of frees up some cash for them to work on Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 and whatever the next Dragon Quest is. I think they're like putting out 10 as a single player experience, I think, now in like the West.
This wouldn't be, I don't think this would be that big of a blow for Xbox if they did buy it. I mean, think about it. For Spoken, right? That new game that's coming out, it's supposed to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. PlayStation has the marketing, or always had the marketing for Final Fantasy games, right?
Right.
I think it would be more of a blow for Nintendo, right? All those, RPGs that would come out from Square, that would come out day and date with Nintendo platforms like Dragon Quest.
That's if they
make it exclusive,
right? Because it's the same thing as Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, right? You can do one of two things. You can make it exclusive and make your system more attractive, or you can put it out on multiple systems and make more money, right? Those are the, which way do you want to go with it? Which is better for the company? It's the same issue in both scenarios.
I think the Octopath Traveler games would probably be exclusive to Sony. I think Sony would. I
don't know.
I think historically Sony wants to make things more exclusive. Their hand was forced by Microsoft to go sort of multi-platform, right? They didn't really want to do that jump, to take that leap. and put games out on
PC.
other platforms.
Yeah.
Well, on other platforms. Right now they've made a move just to, for PC, right? So I think PC was maybe always going to be a transition for them, but putting it out on the competitors' platforms, Microsoft forced their hand. Major League Baseball as Major League Baseball themselves forced their hand, right? Said they wanted it on all platforms. They didn't want exclusive. Right. So it's not. I think it's in Sony. I think Sony would want to make these things exclusive to PlayStation, and there's nothing. There's honestly nothing anybody could do about it if it's a Japanese company buying another Japanese company, and they don't have to go through any of the red tape that you would have to in the West.
Right. Yeah. And, Japanese government, well, Japan in general is very, well, I got to say the right words here, but, and I went there and I kind of experienced it firsthand. They're very homogenous, I think is the word, right?
That's fine. Yeah.
Japanese people love their own kinds, right? They're very nationalistic in a way, not in a bad way necessarily, but everyone kind of understands the rules there. Everyone follows the law, this and that. That's why there's like no graffiti. That's why it's very safe over there. It's a lot of nice things about Japan, but they're a very insular country. And, I think everything that you said is right. Japanese company buying another Japanese company, right? So it all stays inside the family. It stays inside the country. It's an easier thing to kind of work out legally, right, with the government and all that. And I know Sony would do right. Sony understands the properties that are here and the value that they hold. And I don't think they're going to just take them and then not do anything with them. Like we're going to continually get more games and whatever, if this is the kind of path forward for Square-Enix. And I'm not surprised because everyone's buying up everybody. So,
consolidation of the industry.
Right. And I guess like one thing I'll say is like a side note to all of this. I'm kind of okay with it. I'm kind of okay with it because in terms of game development, the internet has always been around. And I think this is an important thing to say in that, going all the way back to PC games, early internet, early 90s, right? When the World Wide Web came out, gave everybody a stake in this new plotted digital land. You could do whatever you want. You pay for web space. You can do what you want with it. Put up whatever, right? And if anybody wanted to make a video game, you could do it, and you could put it up on the internet, and you charge people if you wanted. You put it up for free or whatever. And that's only gotten like better and better. You got companies like Limited Run doing physical versions of digital games. You've got companies like itch.io, which provide services. You can go and download games and all that. So even if we get to like Monolith, like the big five, like in the record industry, right? We get the Sony and the BMG and the EMI and the whatever, and like the Warner. It's okay because people will still have an avenue to put out games if they don't want to ally with one of the big companies, right? You can still put it out, and you can definitely make money off it because there's a lot of companies and services that'll help you like get your game out there. So
I think the consolidation of the industry will bring forth like a new age, right?
Most definitely.
We lost that middle tier studios, right? We were either big or indie, right? At that point, when we lost that mid tier, there's
no AA games anymore.
Yeah, and I think that could make its way back as fresh new talent comes in, fresh ideas come in, new IPs, elevate. Make money for companies, and I think this could be the age where we get more mid-tier companies that come in as the industry consolidates, and indie games will be more important more than ever, right? So, all right, let's talk about new games. Talk about new games and new ideas. Well, hopefully they'll have a new idea for this new game, which will be Mafia 4. Apparently, it's in development. Right, using Unreal Engine 5, of course. But the news to this is it looks like it's going to be a prequel to the first game.
Sure. Okay. So the first game took place in the heart of what we know as the height of mafia gangs and all that running around New York and Chicago and all that in the in the 1940s and I think early 50s or whatever was like the first couple of games. So this would be even like pre that, right? Maybe early 1900s, maybe 1920s. I could see a lot of cool things coming out of this. I could see a lot of cool venues, right? You could put it in Chicago. You could put it in Italy, maybe, right? You want to take it way back, before everyone like emigrated over to the New World. I could see some cool things coming out of this. I'm always down with people trying new stuff, right? Everyone expects a sequel. Not everybody expects a prequel.
What year was Gangs of New York?
Gangs of New York was late 1800s. It started in 1846 and then it flash forwards to like 1860s maybe, and then it flash forwards to like 1880 because it takes place. The movie proper takes place during the Civil War because they actually talk about that a little bit. But there's the thing when like Valen is the young Valen Amsterdam or whatever. He's young. He's like, I don't know, 5, maybe like 6, and his dad dies in the big battle. Spoilers, but it's the first 5 minutes. So yeah, it's like late 1800s. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe they could do that. That's sort of like the start of the Mafia, right? Like the gangs, just in general.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And that is an untapped market. They haven't even done that with Assassin's Creed. I really want an Assassin's Creed in New York. That'd be awesome. Late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, but they haven't really did anything that modern, right? Like the Assassin's Creed
Syndicate was pretty close. Syndicate was pretty close.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. All right, I totally forgot about Syndicate. No, you're correct on that.
And they always flash forward to modern day with like Desmond running around New York, or they talk about New York, but he's in the Abstergo facility or whatever. So
that's true. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Now you got me wanting an Assassin's Creed in New York. I kind of want.
I'm just saying, man, it'd be great because like it would be before any big technology, right? I don't even think the light bulb. You could do it before the light bulb got invented, so you wouldn't have, lights everywhere. You wouldn't have any security. I mean, you'd have some police force, but they're all corrupt. You could totally do it. You could definitely stab some people and walk down the side streets. Oh, okay, yeah, it would be good.
Right.
Would be good.
Oh, I could see that. I want either a Mafia or Assassin's Creed. New York, 1860s. The 1860s.
Yes.
Apparently, Gangs in New York is between 1862 and 1864. So.
Yep.
So you're right. Civil War period. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I really wanted to talk about this when I heard this. I was so disappointed. I love wrestling, and anytime I get a chance to talk about wrestling on the show, I take advantage of it. But this is not good news. Apparently, by some reporting by VentureBeat, I think I got this from VentureBeat. AEW and Yuke are butting heads over the new AEW game. Apparently, it is over budget, and they're sort of disputing the vision of the game in different modes. So, Kenny Omega, I know, former AEW champion, in the face of AEW, to be honest, is an executive producer at AEW, and he was put in charge of the game because he loves video games, and he's all in tournaments and him and Xavier Woods from the New Day had that big clash. They met in the finals of like Evo with Street Fighter, and Kenny Omega pulled it out in the end and won.
Wow,
right?
That's crazy.
So we don't know if this is because of his inexperience, right? He's never had to sort of run or do anything with like a video game and put it together, right? Especially a big budget game. It's different when it's an indie game,
right?
Budget, right?
Right.
Or is Yuke's taking advantage of his inexperience? We don't know where the issue comes from or stems from. I know you've talked about the look of the game, and a lot of people have talked about the look of the game, and I told you it may not look the best.
They look like pillow pals, Dan. It's weird. They do.
But no. But seriously, the first game, any like issues visually or something like that, as long as it's playable, right?
Well,
people would give it a pass. But stuff moving forward, the following games can't, they have to have vastly, improvements. So
it's not that it's bad. It's just a weird art style. Because they literally look like stuffed animals, right? They look like the stuffed wrestlers. They do. But even like with that, if it's a solid wrestling game underneath the hood, because I played wrestling games that look bad but play well, I can get behind it. Well, go ahead.
I'm just saying my issue is like this is not what I want to hear. I don't want to hear they have issues. I don't want to hear.
Well, of course.
They're vastly over budget, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and they need more funding. This is something that I want to hear. Like, listen, if they're over budget because they want to add more stuff to improve it, make it even better because development is going well, that's what I want to hear. I'm getting disappointed hearing that they're butting heads over the vision of what they want, and I kind of wish I knew more of what does Yuke's want to do and what does Kenny Omega want, right?
Well, I think
where's the difference in a vision?
I think part of it also may be, maybe it comes down to the mechanics and how it feels and all that stuff, but I want to assume that, because Yuke's was working with the WWF license, I think, right before it transitioned maybe to WWE back on PS1 with the first two SmackDowns, right? So they had like a 20-year run working on this wrestling property, and they were the guys. And they put a lot of awesome features in there, but it took, upwards of 20 years to get all that stuff in there, right? They didn't have Create a Belt at the get-go, right? They didn't have the level of Create a Wrestler that they had towards the end, right? It was kind of very limited in the beginning. They didn't have all the modes in there, it took a while to get there. So I wonder if Yuke's is biting off more than they can chew and trying to pack it in there and have parity with what WWE has in terms of all the different modes, all the creative whatevers, all the because they're gonna have like 50 wrestlers in there, so that's kind of on par with how many wrestlers are in a WWE game typically, right? 50 to 60 or so. So I don't know. I feel like there's some of that.
You know what I wanted from an AEW game? I just wanted a standard game. Give me I don't need the I don't need GM mode. I don't know I don't even know what you would call it on the AEW. GM mode is something that they called in WWE,
right?
Because at the time they did the brand split. You were a GM, right?
Right. Right. You were Raw or SmackDown, right?
Raw or SmackDown,
or Velocity, maybe. There's one of them. Could you pilot Velocity in one of them? Or NXT?
Maybe. Yeah. Well, NXT came definitely a little bit later. Okay. Those early days, Velocity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know what you would call it, but I just want give me a game with the stack roster from AEW. Give me the entrances, more important. Give me the special moves, also important. Give me different locations. Give me different pay-per-views, and give me the different matches. More importantly, just give me the different matches and maybe a story mode. That's it. That's it. You don't have to do Create a Wrestler. You don't have to do Create a Belt. Give me the standard things, and then moving forward, AEW, because the name, I think we talked about the name of the game was rumored, but I think confirmed Fight Forever, right? There probably won't be a Fight Forever 2 if Yuke's and AEW can't come to terms on if it's not well received. Let me put it that way. They can have bad development. They can have a bad development, but if it's not well received, it's probably not going to have a.
Well, definitely Yuke's won't be making it. Sadly, they'll get somebody else in there.
As a side note to this story, I added it on right before we recorded. It looks like WWE Stephanie McMahon on an earnings call said that WWE will have a role-playing game in development. So they're sort of going. They're gonna. We don't know who's going to be developing it. We don't know if it's 2K or maybe they're negotiating with another studio. But
they're trying to bite off that WrestleQuest money.
They will be a WWE RPG.
Yeah, the only reason they're doing that is because of WrestleQuest, and they see how good that game looks. And
all right, our last story, close to my heart, because it's another wrestling story.
Yeah,
we talked about Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania making his WWE return after 6 years of starting AEW and being on the independent wrestling in Japan and wrestling in Impact Wrestling and wrestling for different, just different promotions. I'm not gonna lie, he came back. I was super excited. It made WrestleMania this year for me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was a big Zelda fan, but I didn't know he had the Triforce on his gear, on his ring
Right.
gear. That's
Right.
awesome to know. He has said that Ocarina of Time is his favorite Zelda game of all time, and he will be
Sure.
in Broken Skull Ranch with Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, bigger than Hulk Hogan, bigger than just bigger than, well, maybe him and The Rock are the two biggest stars ever in wrestling. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I think they surpassed Ric Flair.
Sure.
I think they surpassed Hulk Hogan.
Sure.
Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, there
Definitely. Love Stone Cold. Love playing with Stone Cold. He had the best finisher in the business
Stone Cold Stunner.
ever.
Yeah.
Right. He asked him, he does this for all the wrestlers that he interviews. He has rapid fire questions for them.
Mm-hmm.
And his first question was, what's the best Zelda game? Of course, Cody Rhodes said Ocarina of Time. But that's not the news. The news is Stone Cold Steve Austin himself said, no, you're wrong. It is Breath of the Wild. And I think the internet blew up. I know I blew up when I first heard it because Stone Cold plays video games. That's crazy because we've never associated Stone Cold.
He never talks about it, right? So you wouldn't think. Yeah.
Ever. Yeah.
So,
and by the way, just point, he doesn't have young kids. Okay. His kids aren't young. He has two daughters. They don't even live in America. They live in Europe. And they probably have kids of their own. So maybe it's the grandkids, but he definitely doesn't have young kids that he's like playing games with. So he probably, I can see the Switch is a portable thing he could take with him. And maybe Breath of the Wild got him. I'm not saying he's a gamer, but he apparently loves Breath of the Wild.
Well, he's right. Objectively, Breath of the Wild is the best Legend of Zelda game. It surpasses the original. Okay. I just let me just say why. I need to back this up. Because I know
on impact, I think Ocarina of Time is still number one. Impact.
I'll give you that the importance of Ocarina of Time is more important than Breath of the Wild for sure. Because it came out at the right time. It was the first 3D Zelda. It was 3D done right. Had a lot of really cool things in there. But it did also introduce the little navigation companion that was in every Zelda game up until Breath of the Wild, when they said, you know what the worst thing about the Zelda games is? The little companion that nudges you everywhere and just tells you everything instead of showing you, right? It's one of the cardinal sins of video games. It's show, don't tell. And Breath of the Wild, the thing that they did is they said, all right, what makes a Zelda game? And they went back to the original. They looked at it. They even mapped out the game world with a tile editor that was based on the original Legend of Zelda to map out the game world for Breath of the Wild. Because Miyamoto made the game, because he loved as a child exploring the countryside of Japan and going around and finding all these cool things and going into caves and walking through tunnels and all that. Like, it was his childhood experience of just like exploring. And they brought that back to Breath of the Wild. And they don't take your hand and say, here's where you need to go. They subtly show you that, oh, you can go in this direction or you can go in this direction, right? That's why 90% of players, 80% of players always go to Kakariko Village and then go and meet the Zoras and then beat the giant elephant stage or beast, divine beast or whatever it is, right? Because they subtly got, but some people don't. I've talked to some people that said, you know what? I went left and did the Desert Palace thing, or somebody went way up north and did the snow thing, which is awesome. You can go wherever you want and do whatever you want in that game, and there's always an experience.
Or you could be like me and you still haven't beaten it. You just traversing the land, going all around.
You just want to let that magic ride out. You want to let that magic go. So I love you, Stone Cold, even more now. You were badass. I mean,
you know what?
That man has his own brew. He's got the I think Broken Skull IPA, and now he's got the best opinion on the Legend of Zelda.
Now we have to have him on the show to ask him the most important question we will ever ask any guest on the
Greatest
show.
Game of all time. That's right.
Yeah, there we go. And I'm sure he would get that answer correct.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers 3, of course.
Yeah, Super Mario World. Okay. All right. Why don't we take a break?
Mm-hmm.
One more break. When we come back, we'll get to our special guest, returning guest, Retro Wolf 88.
And we're back. On the show today, returning guest, Retro Wolf 88. YouTuber, gamer. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys having me back on. It is a pleasure. Really enjoyed it last time, and I know a lot has happened since last time that I'm sure you want to talk about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I think first we do want to say congrats on the 5,000 subs.
Thank you.
Congrats on the near 6,000 subs, right? You're getting right up on there, right? I think last month you put out a video for that, and then now you're about to hit another 1,000 on top of that.
Yeah, my goal, my realistic goal is to try to hit 7,500 before the end of 2022. Mm-hmm. But judging by our growth rate currently, I think I'm going to get above that before the end of the year. I think I could. I mean, there's a chance I could get close to 10,000 depending on how it goes with our plan with the videos and stuff. And we've got some cool stuff planned, so it should work out pretty good.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, listen, I just want to say congratulations. Hard work.
Cheers.
Love the videos. We've talking for a long time, and we always can never come together. And we did the first show, and we wanted to have you back on. Now that we're doing video, posting on YouTube, which is a new venture for us last year or this year.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So, just congratulations and continued growth. And
Thank
cheers.
you. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. YouTube it's a wild ride. Whenever you really dig in and just, try to make something out of it, it's a wild ride. It's a lot of work. It's tough. It's frustrating sometimes, but I've gotten a lot more positives out of it than negatives, and it's been a pretty positive. It's had a pretty positive impact on my life. Not necessarily like financially or anything. I'm making like a tiny bit of money off of it, but just for my own mental health and sanity, it has been really beneficial. So I'll say that.
Yeah. I think, especially now with the, we call it the zombie apocalypse because, everyone kind of being at home and whatnot. When you have setups like this and you're able to kind of get on the internet and talk to people and whatnot, it really it makes you feel like, you're not alone out there, even though you're not supposed to go out. You got to stay safe and all that, as a way to kind of connect with people. So,
and we have an awesome community. This community is just great. I mean, so many awesome people in this community.
Yeah.
All right, but I want to jump into it, man, because
let's jump into it.
I have some questions.
Okay.
As a collector myself, I definitely like to pick the brain of other collectors and how they get their finds. But you had a complete Gamecube collection.
I did.
And then you sold it.
I sold it.
Can you tell us a little bit why?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get that complete collection the first time, and then why did you sell it?
Yeah. So let's just jump right in, man. So it's an interesting story. So obviously I started collecting, and we talked about this last time. I started collecting in August 2016. And as soon as I started collecting, my goal was to get a complete GameCube collection. So I had that goal from the very beginning. I completed the GameCube collection in early 2020. So it took me almost 4 years to complete it. And just this year, January 2022, I sold the entire thing to another YouTuber named Retro Rick. Now, I wasn't specifically targeting him at first. I was shopping around for buyers. I had a few potential buyers like Phoenix Resale, and a game store in Columbus, Ohio was a potential buyer. But I settled on Retro Rick because he was going to keep it. That was very important to me. If I sold it to a game store, they would piece it out and it would just be distributed amongst a bunch of people, which still would be kind of cool, but I would rather it go to one person. And me and Rick came to a deal that we were both happy with. Now, why did I sell it, right? It wasn't out of necessity or anything. It wasn't out of any kind of financial crisis or emergency. I've wanted to start a business for a while now. I've wanted to start a photography and videography business with a little bit more focus on videography, but I'm going to be starting in real estate with real estate photography and videography and various services in that field.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't want, there was a lot of equipment that I needed for the business, a lot of expenses that I needed for the business. I didn't want to take out a loan. I didn't want to take on any debt. And I didn't have the money in the bank to buy the things that I needed. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell my GameCube collection. And that was a hard decision to make. But part of what made that decision easier was a couple of things. Well, number one, I'm trying to look at things in the long term, right? If I sell my GameCube collection, take that money, get what I need to build a successful business where I'm making more income on the side, making more money on the side, pay off debts because I've got some debts I need to pay off. And then all of a sudden that money is going into my pocket instead of going towards debts. That's going to give me a lot more money to go hunting with, to build collections with. So I'm kind of trying to look at it in the long term. So I knew from the very beginning when I was going to sell that GameCube collection, I knew that I was going to rebuild it again, as crazy as that sounds. And I had this idea of taking this opportunity to also kind of reinvigorate the YouTube channel and take the YouTube channel in a different direction than I have been, and doing more hunting videos, but kind of putting my own spin on it, giving it my own style, my own flavor. And the theme of those hunting videos being rebuilding the GameCube collection. So, and it's been a blast. It's a blast rebuilding the collection. It's kind of reinvigorated my love of video game hunting. So yeah, I mean, building a business, making more money, getting out of debt. Those are very important things for me, especially getting out of debt. And then taking the YouTube channel in a different direction. So it's kind of a combination of a lot of different things. And I don't regret it at all. I really don't.
Oh wow! Oh, now
Yeah.
where do you usually find your pickups? Like, is it all Goodwill, trades, eBay, other retro stores? Like, how do you, especially those hard to find games, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
high ticket items.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's a combination of all of the above. So far where I'm at with the GameCube collection, I'm up to, I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere in the 180 range, all complete in box, all Black Label games. And I've only spent around 32% of market value. My goal is to rebuild the collection complete in box at under 50% market value. Now, as far as where I find the stuff, I've done a lot of trades, flea markets. I found a lot of games at flea markets, retro game stores. Yeah, I mean, all of the above. A couple on eBay, a few on Instagram, a few on whatnot. So a lot of different. I mean, I don't exclude any source. I prefer to find them all in the wild if possible, but I know that I'm not going to find them all in the wild. You know what I mean? So I know there's going to be some that I'm going to have to bite the bullet on and get on eBay at some point.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I see Fire Emblem in the wild, I'll probably do a backflip in the highway. I mean, it's just impossible.
I have the Wii version, not the GameCube version, but
you guys know Gaming Off the Grid?
yes.
Love that show.
They found a freaking Fire Emblem Path of Radiance complete in box in mint condition in a Goodwill bin.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Wow, I wish.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, you know, you remember a couple of years ago where they found a stadium event complete in a Goodwill, right?
Did they?
They found it in Queens. Yep.
Really?
In Queens, New York.
Right next to me.
In Dan's hometown.
Wait, are you guys thinking of somebody else? Because I don't think Gaming Off the Grid's been to New York.
No,
it wasn't them, but somebody had found it.
It's just in general.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I got you. That's crazy.
Pretty sure that it was legit. I mean, we watched a bunch of videos on it and saw kind of went through the game film a little bit. I feel like it was legit, you know, and they came across this thing. I mean, it happens. I guess like the best thing that happened to me a couple weeks ago, maybe like a month ago, I found Marvel vs. Street Fighter at Goodwill, sitting out with the CDs.
That's a good one.
Nice.
$5.
$5. You can't beat that.
I found some things in Goodwill, but I think like the thing that really drove me like, it was Salvation Army. I asked, hey, do you have any games? I don't see any games. And the guy said, we have some Atari games in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, sure. Yeah, let me take a look. I don't exclude Atari. He brought out the Wonderland. Was it the Wonder Boy series, Sega Master System? Each one.
Yep.
Wow.
They
In
were
the box?
great condition. In box.
Wow.
In box.
Wow.
And he said, okay, $5. So in my mind, I thought $5 for each.
Yeah.
He said, no, it's $5 for the whole, for all of them. I was like, yes, I'll take
That's
it.
epic. That's epic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not, and I wanted to say it's not Atari, but I just let him go with it.
Yeah.
Because they were keeping it for I guess somebody was keeping it for somebody like that works in Salvation Army. And he wasn't supposed to sell it, but he was selling it to me. So I took it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
a hell of a find.
You said 180, around 180 right now, currently?
Yeah, somewhere in the 180 range, all complete in box, because I'm not adding a game to my collection unless it has the original GameCube case, the disc, the original cover art, and at least the manual.
Sure.
So I'm trying to do it a little bit different this time. So I've got a stack of games that I don't have the manual for that I haven't added to the collection yet, but if I get the manual for them, they'll go into the collection.
Yeah,
Piecing
just
it
kind of
together.
piecemeal them together. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I've done that. So wait, Dan, how many GameCube? I can see your GameCube collection back there. How many total do you have?
I don't know off the top of my head,
Okay.
but I will tell retro. I hit a milestone myself this week. I hit 5,000 games for the collection, which
That's a lot of games, dude.
which was my goal when I started collecting back in like 2014, 2015. I said I just want to hit 5,000 games.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, the most that I had before I sold off a lot of my collection was around 3,000. So I can't even imagine 5,000. That's awesome.
I mean, he's got a lot of Barbie's Horse Adventure in there. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
They're not all
You know
bangers.
Okay, listen, Dave. Barbie's Horse Adventure. Okay,
It needs love.
premium
I know.
game. It's
It
a
needs
premium
love.
game for the Wii U. It was a premium game for the NES. Okay, don't sleep on the Barbie game.
All right. So I got about 1,700. I started a little later than Dan did, but Dan got me into it, and he's like, "You got to start collecting games." And then we started doing the podcast and all that. But the reason I was asking you, Dan, about your collection, so I'm gonna say roughly, Dan probably has about 200 or so, right? That's over, I think, a 5-year period, right? I've got maybe 25 to 30 GameCube games, and that's over about a 5-year period, right?
Yeah.
The landscape up here versus where you're at, vastly different, because we don't see GameCube games in the wild. Like, I came across a couple of GameCube sports titles recently, and I was like, I'm gonna get them because I can't. It's like it's hard to find stuff. I found a Pikmin in a GameStop, and I was amazed by that. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I don't find them out in the wild that much either, except at retro game stores and conventions. I mean, I hardly ever find them at flea markets, hardly ever find them at thrift stores. And when I do, it's usually the sports games.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge. It's hard to collect GameCube right now. I mean,
Prices are going up too.
Prices are going up. There's not very many out there in circulation. There's a lot of people collecting for it. So it's and you know, it's funny. When I made this decision to rebuild the GameCube collection a second time, I would have assholes in the comments that would be like, "You're stupid for collecting it again with how prices, with prices the way they are." Which is part of the reason why I want to ultimately build the complete set at under 50% of price charting or of market value in general, just to show people that it can be done. It can be done. And so far, like I said, I'm at 32. I've spent 32% of market value. I think it was I think right now my collection is worth somewhere around $3,600, and I've spent around $1,100. So I've spent a lot less than 50% right now, so I'm doing pretty good. My plan for the heavy hitters, whenever I get to that point, unless I get lucky and find some for cheap, my plan for those is to do reselling to get the money I need to buy those. And then I'm going to consider it $0 spent, because I'm not going to be spending my own personal income of money. I'm going to be using reselling funds to buy the heavy hitters. So that's going to be kind of the plan on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead, Dan.
So talk to us more about the YouTube. Now you got Mama Retro, which I love. I think that was a great addition to your channel. Yeah. Now Mama Retro is going to have her own channel. You're separating.
She's got her own channel, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Why the separation?
So, it's one of those things where me and my nephew, who edits all the videos on the channel, we felt like we had too much of a variety of content on the channel, and we felt like that was hurting us instead of being more narrowed and focused in the content. Because you would have some people that would only watch the channel for GameCube videos, some people that would only watch the channel for Mama Retro videos, and so on and so on. So we made the decision to go ahead and split Mama Retro off on her own YouTube channel. That way, that's one less type of video on my channel, and we can focus the content in a little bit more. And then the Mama Retro channel is all focused on Mama Retro. And what we did is we took the entire backlog of Mama Retro content off my channel. Well, we didn't take it's still on my channel, but we took those videos. We kind of edited out some of the slower parts and re-released them over time on the Mama Retro channel until we finally got to the point where we were releasing new content, which we're releasing new content now. And, it's been slow. The Mama Retro channel growth has been very slow, but it's one of those things where I feel like her channel, I feel like has the potential of going viral just because of how crazy she is on camera, how eccentric she is, how animated, and you never know what she's going to do. You never know what she's going to say. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's just going to take one video to go viral, and then that channel could explode. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. It hasn't happened yet.
Sure.
But that's kind of what I'm hoping for there.
Well, I think she's in a real unique space, right? Yeah. You don't see a lot of kind of older folk gamers in kind of that space attached with like that personality. Like, I mean, I can think of maybe like the gaming granny who plays like Skyrim, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think she had a stroke recently or something. Unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she kind of like blew up in that space and whatnot, and there's certainly room for more personalities. And I mean, I love the granny.
I love the granny. I think she's in the UK that plays nothing but Vita games.
Oh yeah,
JRPGs.
Nice.
Yeah. I love her channel because she's just like me. We're both on Vita Island. We're left there. It's just us. There's nobody else. There's nobody else there.
Yeah. But
well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I gotta tell you, filming those Mama Retro videos is a blast. It is just a blast because it's so unpredictable for me. Because it's none of it's scripted, none of it's planned. I just sit her down in front of the camera, hand her a controller, pick a game, and see what happens. And it's so unpredictable. I never know. And she abuses me a lot in the videos and, and hits me and pulls my freaking goatee and pulls my hair and smacks me. And then me and her we go back and forth with each other and banter back and forth. So it's a lot of fun for both of us. And, I mean, I hope more people will give the channel a chance because I think even people that don't like video games could enjoy those videos just because of how funny they can be sometimes.
Yeah. Was she a gamer back in the day at all? Like
no.
Okay.
No, that first day that I set her down to play Super Mario Bros. 3 in the first episode, that was the first time she'd ever sit down to play a real video game.
That's fantastic. You chose, by the way, the best game ever. So
I think we've had this conversation before, right?
We did.
We did.
We ask all our guests. It's either Super Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World.
And I chose Mario Bros. 3.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, not everybody can be correct. Right. So.
Yeah, so it's actually funny. We did because we have another show, Saturday Morning Retro. We do specifically retro games, anything that's not current gen. And Dan had the idea. He says, "What if we do each other's games. You play me, I'll play Super Mario World, and you do Super Mario Brothers 3, and then we'll kind of do a deep dive on it, and we'll go back and forth. And I came out of it some new revelations about Mario World, the sound design, the super long levels, the different exits, and all that. Like there's some things that it did that was like really good. Oh, still 3 is the best one. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's 3 all day. Yeah. But World is up there.
It's great. Oh, it's great. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Listen, 3 is great. You know, it's the second best NES game of all time.
What's the first best NES game of all time?
Any other NES game you can name of.
Oh, come on.
He just loves throwing shade my way. He knows I get heated over it.
Yeah, I know. No, but look, no. I love Super Mario Brothers 3. I do. This has made it's made me look like a Super Mario Brothers 3 hater when I love the game. It's just not better than World. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen. I mean, you got to pick one or the other, right? So
right, and those are it.
Well,
those are the ones.
I have more fond memories of Contra, playing with friends, trying to beat Contra, than I do Super Mario Brothers 3. So to me, Contra is like the best NES game of all time.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a really good one.
Contra's up there.
So, what's your favorite? Because to me, you're like the Nintendo GameCube guy. Like that's how I like in my mind. Because I know you had the complete collection. You're doing it again. What's the best GameCube game of all time, in your view?
Well, let me ask you this: are we going to go overall library, or are we saying first party versus third party? Are we going to break it down to that, or just say overall library?
You know what? I'll make it easy. What's the best exclusive?
The best exclusive. Okay. Well, I would have said Resident Evil 4, but unfortunately that was only an exclusive for a short period of time before it hit PS2, and then now it's on everything, even VR, which, by the way, the VR version of Resident Evil 4 is fantastic.
Really? I wanted to try it, but I was like, I don't know if I'm doing a Resident Evil game in VR. Dave,
it is the best way to play Resident Evil 4, in my opinion.
Yeah,
easily.
Really?
Easily.
All right, because that's my favorite one of the series. Yeah.
Me too. All right. So if I were to pick a game that is still exclusive to the GameCube, even to this day, so I can't pick. So that means I can't pick Wind Waker. I can't pick Twilight Princess because those were ported.
Oh wow, yeah. None of the Sunshine.
Yeah,
that was ported.
That was ported.
Wow, you actually made this very tough, Dan.
Even Luigi's Mansion was ported to the 3DS. Right. So, oh man.
Mean,
all right.
You could say Dark Sky. Okay. I don't know. The Skittles game.
All right. let me rephrase.
Okay.
The best exclusive of the time, not Resident Evil 4.
Oh. Okay, so best exclusive of the time, not Resident Evil 4. I would probably have to say, actually, you know what? This could be the answer for the original Criterion. Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door.
Wow.
Because it has not been ported to anything.
That's right.
It is still stuck on the GameCube, and that is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite GameCube games.
That's solid. Best in the series, right? I mean...
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah. If I had to pick a second one after that, I would say Twilight Princess.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can. I would say Wind Waker.
And I love Wind Waker too. Yeah. I mean, look, dude, the GameCube, even though the library wasn't as big as the PS2, wasn't as big as the Xbox, there was a lot of quality there, especially on the exclusive front.
Yep.
There are not very many trash games on the GameCube. I mean, there's probably around 50 games in the GameCube library out of all 551 that are trash titles. That's not a bad percentage. For the most part, it's a pretty quality library.
Yeah, and a lot of Nintendo content came out around that time. You got the Capcom 5, right?
Yep.
That's true.
Beautiful Joe and all that. Metroid Prime 1 and 2. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on it.
Out of the Capcom 5, didn't they only release 4, right? They never released the 15.
I think they missed one of the games, yes.
Yeah, because you got PN3, you got Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil 4. Was Beautiful Joe 2? Did Beautiful Joe 2 count?
No, maybe. I think there was
Killer 7. Was Killer
Killer 7 was the one, yeah. Killer 7 was the one.
Yeah.
And I think every one of those games, maybe not Piano 3, but I think all the other 3 got ported to the PS2 because
PNO 3 definitely was stuck on the GameCube for sure.
Yeah, it was a really cool concept, but
yeah.
Speaking of which, I mean, we do need a Beautiful Joe remake.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that.
Yes, we really do.
It's been way too long.
They need to take, because look, the art style in those games would age really well. They just need to clean it up, HDify it, take the first game, take the second game, release them in one package, HD remasters, 60 frames per second, and then do a freaking third one.
Right. Put it out there, gauge the interest with the remaster, and then do the new game off of that. Oh,
that would be amazing.
This is the generation of the remaster, right? So yeah,
I know. I mean, every game for the Wii and the Wii U is now on the Switch, more or less.
Yeah. Which, hey, you know what? I'm happy about that. I don't mind. I think I've got them all too. Well, I don't have Pikmin 3, but I think I've got pretty much all the others.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I think Pikmin. I never thought I would be a Pikmin fan, but I am a big Pikmin.
Yeah, they're fun.
Right. I even like the 3DS game that came out.
I didn't try that one.
I know people hate on it, but I even like it. And that was my first Pikmin game I ever played. That made me want to buy the other Pikmin games to play it.
So before we let you go, do you have anything that you want to plug?
I mean, really, I just say, feel free to check out the channel. We're doing a lot of really cool, at least I feel like they're really cool hunting episodes. We're trying to do different things. Because I mean, look, there's a lot of YouTubers out there doing hunting episodes. We're trying to do some different stuff to distinguish ourselves from the other YouTubers. And we're also trying to make each hunting episode feel a little bit different. We're trying to, do a lot of variety and experimentation and stuff like that. So we've got a lot of we're pretty ahead in videos right now. I've got hunting episodes done that aren't coming out until July and August. So we've got a lot of content in the pipeline. So yeah, I mean, and I'm still gonna be doing non-hunting episodes, but it's gonna be a lot less frequently than I had been in the past because I need more time to put into the business that I'm trying to build.
Sure.
And it's a lot easier for me from a production standpoint and a pre-production standpoint to do hunting episodes than it is scripted, highly produced episodes. So that's another reason why I'm kind of leaning more into the hunting episodes so I have more time for the business. Also, please check out the Mama Retro channel. We are trying very hard to grow that channel. It's been slow. I promise you, just go on there and just watch one video, any video. It doesn't matter which one. I promise you, you will laugh at least once. If you don't laugh at least once, you probably don't have a soul. I'm just saying.
Love it.
But yeah, and again, guys, I appreciate you having me on.
You know what we have to do before you go?
Okay, what we got?
Dave, it's like the light bulb has come up.
Go ahead, lay it down.
So the first game you gave Mama Retro was Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yep.
Okay. We got to give her Super Mario World for the Mama Retro channel. Then we have to bring her on here to ask her the most important question she's ever been asked in the world. What's the best Mario game? And maybe Mama Retro will get it right.
Hey, listen, if you guys want to get Mama Retro on here, we can make it happen. I promise you it will be very entertaining. And it's actually good that you guys do this pre-recorded because I would never put her on something live. There are things that I have to cut out of the Mama Retro episodes that she says that she's not trying to be offensive. She's not trying to potentially be offensive, but she says some things sometimes that I'm like, maybe we should cut that out. Somebody might take that the wrong way. So yeah, it's good that you guys do this pre-recorded, but hey, yes, if you want to try to get Mama Retro on, let me know. It could be fun.
All right.
I've never done that before. I don't know what'll happen, but it should be entertaining.
Oh, it'll definitely be a good time.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic, and thank you for coming on again. It's been awesome to talk to you and learn about the Gamecube collection and all that, and all the successes. So. If you want to check out Retro Wolf 88, he is on YouTube at Retro Wolf 88, and you can check out Mama Retro too. She is she's got a fantastic show on there. She is a good watch. Definitely subscribe to both. Yeah, and that about does it. That is episode 315 of the books, folks. We want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. You can check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
Keep gaming.